staff meeting.
We'll call meeting to order. Roll call.
Hey, Mayor Westergaard.
Yes.
Moller.
Yes.
Stankin.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Bolton. Reese.
Mike, you'd like to address the council?
I would. Mike Frank, Lakeview. I'd like to offer my opinion on something I read in the Resort last week. It's about the ordinances that Vicki wants to change. And I agree that ordinances do need to be revisited. There's several of them that are outdated. My opinion is concerning the one she's talking about, the ordinance on the schmouses or houses or sheds, whatever. Times have changed. I mean, years ago, we used to have a single car garage, went to a 2-car garage, now we're building 3-car garages. But the limits on the sheds, 16 foot, it's not adequate. And the ordinances say you gotta have a apartment in the sheds to qualify to build them bigger. You know, years ago, not very many people had riding lawnmowers. It was a single vehicle family. Now there's 3-4 vehicles. Campers used to be a pull behind the vehicle. Now it's 5th wheels. You know, boats used to be 14-foot John boat. Now they're 30-foot pontoons. People can't house them. I mean, you want to clean up the town, people can't get stuff inside.
So your point is that the shed should be able to be bigger if you're within the 200 feet of your property, or what do you?
I just think, you go any nearby community, Wall Lake, Odie Bolt, Sac City, you go to Twin Lakes where there's lots of boats, you go to Okoboji where there's lots of boats, there's sheds being built. They're 16, 18 feet tall to house these boats and campers, and they don't have to have apartments in them to qualify. I think ordinances need to be revisited all the way around. You asked for a variance when you built your house.
Right. Because of the setback.
Because of a setback. I mean,
I don't
it was
agree.
unfortunate that, you know, both East and West of you, that they are setback so far. But, again, you asked for a variance, there's things that need to be looked at in the ordinances that.
Well, I agree to a point. I guess I've never liked the way we do the setbacks on that average thing. I've told Scott that for years, but you know, the P&Z makes that rule. And I'm not against looking at any of the ordinances and revisiting them. My concern is that we don't have any guidelines for these she houses or shed houses or whatever they are. And my fear was, and I'm not locked in stone on any of this, but my fear is that if we don't have any guidelines on what you can have, and yeah, people are gonna be building more and more of these, and do we wanna have them in an area? Because I think that if you put one in the middle of a neighborhood, it can impact the value of that neighborhood property. I think it can. And you might not agree, but that's my fear. I just wanted the P&Z to look at it. Some of them can probably be made to look very nice. We had a lot of complaints about the one on Ocean Drive, I'll tell you that. We've had a lot.
And I've heard a lot of good comments about it. Depends on who you're listening to. I mean, you're a female, I'm a male. I've heard all kinds of good comments. You know what? I'd love to have that shed. I don't know how many people were interested in that shed when he sold it. There was a number of people interested in buying it.
I'm sure there were.
And well, the one right beside it, you know, it is now going to be a house shed with the apartment upstairs. They have no reason to put an apartment in there. That's the only way that it will qualify. And I just feel that that is ridiculous. And they have no way to build a shed on the east side of the lake where they live. That's why they came to town. That's the only lot. That's another issue that Lakeview has. We need to get a development area for not just housing, but a place to build a shed. Nobody, the opportunity isn't there. I myself had to knock down 2 houses to get what I wanted, and it wasn't cheap.
I agree with that. It'd be nice if we could get some of this stuff inside, you know, only because when it sits outside, I mean, you're in a lake community, so you're gonna have the boats and all that, but then you have the weeds and, you know, I mean.
I agree with that. I'm one that wants to keep things cleaned up, and I try to get as much as I can inside.
I just think a shed in the middle of a neighborhood can have a detrimental impact on the value.
If it's done in a poor manner, yes, but a shed done in the right manner, I mean, even with the steel siding, they make them look really nice anymore, with different colors. You know, you put a little overhang on, make sure they have overhangs on it, dresses a shed up tremendously.
And that's just it, we have no guidelines, we have none right now.
He was up at the farmer's market Saturday, and then, I don't know how he found out that I was on the council, he was very upset because his shells is a very nice thing. He said, this is different than the one he said. He said, this is a very, Mr. Gray.
And
His wife called me.
Good, because
And
I thought
it
he
is
was
gonna
gonna be here.
completely different by the way you described it.
and I'm not, my point wasn't necessarily about his particular, I think it probably is gonna look pretty nice.
Paper trimmed.
My point was, we don't have any guidelines, and I thought the P and Z should look at it, so that if we need guidelines, because somebody can put up a nice one, and then somebody else can put up one that's not so nice.
Well, I mean, you got one in place, you know, the ordinance on steel siding, you know, hidden fasteners, that's a big improvement to steel. But it's,
Is it steel or vertical? That was a big issue here a while ago.
Yeah, but corrugated steel is, corrugated metal is not good this one.
Exactly.
Either way, and, it's defined largely by whether the fasteners are heavy. So, yeah, if you're putting up a panel of sheet metal, you know, that has visible fasteners, that's not this one.
See, and I think Snyder's building over here would look decent in a neighborhood. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's oversized, but I meant the steel on it, it looks presentable.
I wouldn't want
It-
it, I might even.
I think you're gonna have a difference of opinion.
Well, and, I'm a male, and, you know, my
Well, I do-
opinions are different than.
I do realize that there's a need for storage for everyone's boats and cars and whatever in this community. There really is a need for that.
And I'm not speaking on my behalf, because I'm done. I mean, I went everything according to what it's, I'm speaking for all the future builders, and I just think it needs to be addressed.
I just
And
think we need
in a more,
guidelines.
allowing stuff, because like I said, things are getting bigger. You can't get everything
Well-
in a 2-car garage.
It's just like out on Lakewood, you know, I talked to the P and Z once about the setbacks out there, because the old Lakewood is so narrow, those lots are so narrow, they've got nowhere to go but up. But, you know, the P and Z chose not to change that, that's fine, that's that committee, but they're the ones that need to look at things, and the community should have some input into this, because,
But, you know what, when there's PLC,
Mike, would you write down stuff that you think they should address and then to Scott?
or,
That they can
Well,
bring to P and Z?
I guess a lot of ordinance need to be revisited, but
We can invite.
I don't know
you.
where you start.
those are all really good points, you know, and there's gotta be some common ground that, you know,
We can let you know what that
Some-
meeting
some
is.
type of-
You can address those.
With any luck, Mike, we'll get this meeting set up hopefully for the 13th. So it'll be Friday the 13th, we'll probably do it.
Okay.
you're welcome to come there.
Maybe you need to have it when more people are available, or maybe they, I don't know what they normally do, the PNC, I mean, do they sometimes table it and revisit it?
Yeah, it takes,
Because I
Yeah,
just
lots
It
think,
happen overnight,
not everybody can come at noon and address it, so.
but it's a start. That's the only way
It's a
we
start.
We gotta
I
start.
mean, I'm not asking,
No, not overnight, but it takes time, but we'll start the process.
again, there's, hopefully we can get, I don't know what Lakeview is working towards, but I know Manila, Arcadia, and all them have development areas where they're selling lots very cheaply to attract people.
Yeah.
We've
We
talked
have
about that.
nothing.
Right. We can't find a contractor that wants to come in and do that, developer,
Well, that's where the city has to step up.
and we're trying to do some of that now.
The big question is, how much should this city step up financially for something like that?
You want people to come in?
Exactly, and that's kind of what
They can't come in if you don't have nothing
we're working
here.
on.
But the trouble is, Mike, say down here at the end of town, they come in, one guy buys all them lots and nobody gets the bill.
Well, again, that's where the lots weren't big enough for a
Dave's house.
ranch
That's why I
style
always-
house.
I always think you need a developer contractor, like they do, say in Carroll, they come in and build that whole line of houses.
But that's not gonna happen here without some city putting some money in it, it's not gonna
It-
happen.
And not everybody will want taxpayer money to do that.
I can't think they would.
Everybody's got a different.
But I think more people are interested in doing that than you might think. But you always hear the negative more than the positive, but, we've had such big issues with the sewer, and we're trying to work with the downtown, and we're trying to do some things, and, it's kind of a baby steps, I guess. I'd like to see a development area for sure. I'd like to see a little industrial area too, a little bit,
Well,
But
I'd like
there-
to see more in a residential area than spending buku money downtown when your business are going. It's hard for them to survive in a small community.
They're not gonna survive if you let that downtown go to pot. That's my opinion. Anyway, I'm not against buying development ground, I just don't know if this council is in favor of it, I don't know. And they need, the council's like anybody else, it helps to have public input, and we
Yeah,
don't
I
get a lot.
agree.
We have a
Just
lot of
like
complaints from the coffee
This
shop.
tonight, that helps a lot.
We don't get very many people coming and trying to help us solve the problem.
The 13th at noon.
And work it down.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, man.
Okay, consent agenda, we're gonna add this building permit.
Yeah, if we can now. So what we would do is amend the agenda to include this additional building permit, although it'll be considered under the building permit part. Other than that, everything is in order.
We'll just do the consent agenda.
You mean to add this one, is that what you're saying?
We'll put that down on the other building permits.
Yep.
We'll do the consent agenda first.
So moved.
Second,
Second,
roll call.
Bolton,
Yes.
Moller,
yes.
Stankin,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes,
Okay, now we'll approve the building permits with this addition.
with this addition, yeah.
Make that motion. Second,
Second,
roll call.
Stankin,
Yes.
Moller,
yes.
Reese,
yes.
Bolton,
Yep.
Thomas.
Yes.
Okay, our local planning and administrative assistance contract.
Right, so that contract was in your packet. This would have, this is for Region 12 to do all of the grant administration work for us. All of this amount is then funded through the grant. Their fees
So,
are $8,000.
what is they get paid to do this? What do they get out of it?
$15,000, Region 12 does, yeah. I tell you what, Terry, this is a federal grant,
It's
and the
from-
amount of paperwork involved with that is just astronomical.
I just want to know.
And really, we do need them to do that. Because this takes a specialty in order to know what you're doing.
So how many people are they writing grants for? Will it do us any good?
Well, this is for the one that's been funded. This is for our housing rehab grant that's been
Oh,
funded,
for
so
the
this
houses.
implements that, yeah.
Okay. For the houses, I can see, yeah, that's good.
So
We need a motion to approve that.
Motion to approve. Yep, okay.
Second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Bolton,
Yep.
Thomas,
Yes.
Stankin,
Yes.
Moller,
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
And we have the contract with Rudd, 3 years.
Yeah, this is just a formal amendment, it's on page 9. This is amendment number 9 over the course of time, but this makes no changes other than to extend the time period for 3 years.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Moller,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Bolton,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Stankin.
Yes.
Okay, we do have a contractor that will fix the driveway after 2 years.
Yeah.
Yes. You want to talk about that, though,
Well,
John, as far as
yes.
what's involved with that?
It's
You
the,
want some input, I would think, Karen?
you
I
just
would
want it
like to
done.
say you've all been there to see it, and I need to have it improved so that I can at least use a snow blower in the winter, because it's going to wreck the driveway.
Have you been able to look over what they plan to do?
I have told them what they need to do.
Well, is that what's written up? That's my question is, have you seen what's in here?
No,
Just, there is no spec on the project
No.
about working with the contractor.
But you're taking most of it out, right?
Yeah.
Right,
wait.
up to the hump.
Yeah.
The contractor's been
up to
there.
where they took it out. Up to where they took it out during the process of road building,
Right.
to relay the
It-
block,
it
the
relays most of it.
pavers. Yeah, to
Relays most of it.
relay the pavers.
Right.
Mhm.
This is the guy that's doing the house south of the grocery store.
Right.
So he's looked at it and he thinks he can fix it,
Yes.
is that, I mean?
He did look at it, yes, he did.
Because, I mean, we just want it to be right, if we're gonna spend the money,
Exactly.
we want it to be right.
Exactly, I feel greatly with you. Yes,
We're certainly not gonna pay him if he doesn't do it right.
that's right.
Well, that's what I just wondered, is what the specs are, how defined is it?
I would-
Contract.
I'll defer to
The
John on
specs
this
are
one.
making it
Well,
right.
Oh, yeah, I took him up there and we showed him where the humps were and what, we had to
Yes.
take it clear up to the top, because Karen was there and,
I told him about, he'd probably have to put some sand in to get it level with the apron, because it's, when you hit it, you bounce and a small car hits the bottom. And I'm going to show him where to start, because you can see it right from my dining room window.
I just wanna make sure that he knows exactly what we expect and, you know, you just don't wanna get it done and then he says, well, I did what I was told to do and you're not happy and that's what I'm trying to avoid.
Well, it isn't a big, you know, 3,500 don't seem like a lot of money to
No.
me.
that he thought he could do it for that.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's what his bid was. We had other guys supposed to look at it and they never showed up.
We just
Right.
want it right.
No one
Yeah.
ever
We can't
came.
keep kicking this down the road forever, we either gotta fix it or.
Right, it needs to get done.
It needs to get
Yes, it
done.
does,
Right,
and I thank you for that.
but we would need a motion to approve hiring that contractor.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Moller,
Yes.
Stankin.
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Bolton,
Yep.
Reese.
Yes.
I'm just sorry it's taken this long to get this far.
All right,
We'll let him know.
okay, and I'll be there.
Yes.
I will be
Keep an eye on
there. You better believe it.
You got a lawn chair and you just get comfortable.
I will be out there showing him what is going on.
Yeah.
Because he's
just-
already, when I told him about how the Peters brothers did it on their hands and knees with knee big things, and he just went, whoa.
Yeah.
So I will be there.
Well, I think it's the only way to do it.
Thank you for your patience.
And,
Thank you.
you know, make sure you contact Scott or John if there's something not right, I guess.
Right. You bet.
I'll be up there.
Yep. I agree with that we should watch it, and thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Karen.
Thanks.
And we have a proposal on our tuck pointing.
Yeah, we got two bids on the, tuck pointing out. This, I'll flip to page 10 though, real quickly, and I'll tell you what's involved with all of this, and we'll just go through those line items, just about caulking all the windows and doors, so any of the masonry, cracks around windows and doors, and then also any other cracks between pieces of masonry, they all need caulk, as opposed to, not tucked. You know, they're caulked. They were caulked last time. Tuck pointing then as needed, and really there's a couple of bad problem areas, largely above the front door. But in total. I mean, it's not like we're retucking the entire building. It's just a very small portion of the building. Brick replacement is like 6 or 8 bricks. This is not a huge number of bricks that need to be replaced. All the lintels above the windows, they'd be painted as needed. Then the entire building is power washed. That's the first thing, is to power wash and then to caulk the stones in front of the building. Would suggest that we would go ahead and hire Iowa Tuck Pointing. The other proposal was from Clark. Clark would undoubtedly do a great job. This Iowa Tuck Pointing comes highly recommended from the schools.
So do they take all the old caulking out?
They do. Yeah.
Make a motion to review.
Second?
I'll say.
Roll call.
Bolton.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Moller.
Yes.
Stankin.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Okay, we have our audits report, our accounts report finally.
Finally. Let's take a look at page 13 and walk through this a little bit. Start off, this is just their cover letter about what they did. The bottom half of this first page kind of lists some of that stuff. As items 1 through 8 here about reviewing council minutes, they'll actually tell me one of the notes is that they found one that wasn't signed, other than that it's compliant. They do review internal controls, number 2. Number 3 talks about bond coverage, and we were good there. Number 4, it says that they review the clerk's financial reports and then select the bank recs. So, again, just the notion that this is not a financial audit. This is that annual exam. And actually what they call this is it's a report on applying agreed upon procedures. So the state auditor has these procedures, then agreed upon procedures. And then what the auditor is doing is checking the way we operate versus these procedures. So it is not that they have done a full-blown financial audit. It's just that they're mainly checking this as a process deal. Okay, so number 5 talks about chart of accounts, and we'll see a note about one of our accounts on that too, already from the chart of accounts. Number 6 talks about reviewing the annual financial report. And number 7 is reviewing to make sure that we have some of these resolutions in place about depositories, investment policies, unclaimed property. You got to have those things in place, which we do. Number 8 would review debt, and that's reviewing again the process largely for issuance of debt. We're always real solid on that. We use bond counsels when we issue debt, and not everybody necessarily does. So they would check. Next page, number 9, things that they are testing. Selected TIF transactions would be tested. Number 10 talks about the TIF debt certification. So they do check that, make sure that we've filed the forms with the county auditor that are needed to keep receiving our TIF funds. 11, they're testing selected receipts, and 12, they're testing selected disbursements. And it is really a test, because I couldn't tell you how many that they do, but it's just a small percentage of receipts and disbursements that are tested. Number 13 actually doesn't apply to us. We have no voter levies. 14, they review transfers, and again, we actually had one year-end adjustment that was based off of transfer. 15, testing payroll. Again, and then 16, reviewing the annual certified budget about whether we had exceeded in any areas of the budget. So those are the things that they're testing. It's not a full financial audit, it's a test. So if you flip to the next page, you see what the recommendations are. Page 15, top recommendation there is always recommendation number 1 deals with segregation of duties. And wanting us to try to incorporate as much segregation and as much second and third checking as possible. So, and we've done some of that, and what we've done is incorporate largely the mayor into this, so that the mayor has the review of, particularly on bank reconciliation bills, checks all of the disbursements and then checks the bank reconciliations. The item B, about certified budget, they say that we exceeded the amount budgeted in public works and health and social services and capital projects functions prior to the budget amendment. So actually, at the end of the year, we did exceed on the health and social services one, and actually what that is that Quinn Special Project Fund, and that was not budgeted, was not a budgeted fund. So any expenses there showed up as an overage on the budget. But the other ones were, we had exceeded the amount prior to doing the budget amendment. And we've done this lots of times too, that we would have a kind of year-end budget amendment to just clean it. Okay, technically you're supposed to do that before. C talks about the council minutes, and that there was one that was unsigned, and I believe it was me who was the unsigner. And that's been attended to. Monthly bank rec. They note that bank reconciliations are prepared, and the certain bank activity relating to a donation savings account was not recorded on a monthly basis, but only at year end. That's the plan. That I just made entries into the city books at the end of the year. Otherwise, we keep it as really as a little checkbook. You have standalone personal checkbook.
They kind of more.
No, because we need to have the entries put into the city system. E talks about business transactions, and we do have business transaction in this case with the mayor for include chest for Christmas parties, I suppose. But that's fine. That it did not exceed any of the goals. That's the thing we approved that change last time too, about increasing the total amount that you can deal with city officials. And now we're consistent with state code on that. It's actually $6,000. F is hotel motel tax, and that also then has to do with how you account for the money. We have it set up as a completely separate fund, and we always put it in to the special revenue funds through the state reporting, and that actually just needs to be reported along with our general.
So do you do it as a transfer?
Well, it has more to do with how it's reported on the state forms. You just got to put that into, there's a column for general fund, and it'll go in the general fund column.
It needs to be included in there, and you did not do that? Is that?
No, we've never done it. I mean, we've had this
So
in
you
place
just-
for,
So how did you account for that then, on that form?
another type of revenue column on the state forms, just called special revenue. So I was put hotel motel special revenue, and it's supposed to go into
General?
And then the chart of accounts, this was interesting about how we had designated funds from the electric improvement fund. That for years we, of course, would list the electric improvement fund as a utility fund, and then our previous auditor had wanted that balance put into a capital improvement fund, because that's what you do with it, is use it for capital projects. Well, this guy then says, no, in fact, you need to go back to the way it was before, so that your electric funds show up as a utility, right? So that's just really a difference between the auditors about what they like to see.
So going back to the monthly bank reconciliations, I know you're talking about the plan. Then up here somewhere else, I thought it said something about. So the budget should have been amended. You said that was just kind of a slip, right?
Yeah, truthfully, we've done that for lots of years. We would have a year-end budget amendment, and it's
So
kind of
they're
catch-all.
saying, and they're saying it should have been,
That we
you should do it
shouldn't.
before you exceed it.
Yeah, and that, to be compliant, if you're gonna exceed your budget several times throughout the year, it would take several budget amendments.
Yeah. So that's what they expect you to do.
Anybody have any questions? Need a motion to approve that?
Yeah, I think really you're just acknowledging receipt.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Benson,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
Tom, Wolf.
Okay, Royce, you got any updates on our nuisances?
Well, everybody's kind of working on it pretty hard. Like the second one down, we did serve a notice from Dave from him, and you want to address that, Scott, where the 90 days.
Yeah, just know that, so we had given this dangerous buildings notice to Casey Schwab. And just per our ordinance, a dangerous building notice is a 90-day notice. And that's just stipulated in our city ordinance as far as how it's ordinance. So he was given this 90-day notice. He has started to work on it, and he started to,
I see the club is on
you know what, I guess I don't know, but he,
the steps or?
he was cleaning everything out of the inside last I saw.
The bathtub is gone,
I thought so.
but the siding, but I think he's taken some stuff out.
Yeah, he's had a gravity box there filled up.
Gravity tanks.
The
We want to get it done.
fourth one down where we filed charges made his initial appearance in court today. That one's been rectified. I got a message from the judge that if it's done to our satisfaction, then he'll go ahead and release it with the cost to the defendant.
Will he drive that back outside at a future date?
We'll do it again. I was gonna say, this stupid car we fought with for years. It comes and it goes and it comes and it goes. And I think Mr. Steinkamp brought up before, something about reappearing. Well, there's a red truck on High Street that he's getting towards the end of his 30 days for doing something with it too, so. Just, it's a never ending question.
We moved it.
Yeah, but his 30 days for moving it are
So
up.
was that the 30 days?
Yes, it's gotta be every 30 days. Has to be used.
Oh,
So, it's just a never ending battle.
it is,
Like the very last one.
Yeah, but they are doing some work on it. They got rid of it.
Doing some work since I've been on the council.
Well, since we talked to them about doing it, they have, but
I know your plate is full, and you have a lot going on. I just don't think we're making very good progress at all. I mean, there's a few people that have done a few things, but there's not very many that have really totally done. Some people don't look to me like they've done anything. So it seems to me there's no teeth in this. And I looked at that ordinance about who can assist with this. I didn't interpret it the way you did, that you can't delegate or have the other officers help you with this.
and I was under the impression, it's, three of us that could. And maybe that's been changed over the years too, and I didn't pick up on that.
I don't know, because I'm not gonna say that I always read an ordinance and interpret it accurately.
I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, but I looked at it and I didn't see, it seems to me like you're the officer and you can have people help you if that would help. Because, I mean, especially the weed thing, I don't get it. How hard is it to get rid of weeds? Gosh, weed eaters are, it's not like they gotta pull them anymore. I mean, the weed eaters work pretty well.
And Roundup.
And a lot of these places are weeds.
Yeah.
And I don't see anything on here about the property at, where was he at?
South Lake Street?
Yes, South
I
Lake
just
Street.
got him notice, so it was before I get it included on this.
Okay, so he's
Yeah.
received a notice.
Yeah.
He's got almost a dangerous building back there too. And then, the vehicle on High Street is still there behind the blocks. Did they get a notice? Is it 642 or something?
I'm sorry, I don't remember that one.
Had it somewhere, I don't know, had it.
That,
Watson. Yep.
Oh, okay. Oh, that one I dropped the ball, I forgot all about it.
Well, it just, like 403 Second Street. Yeah, they've done some work there.
Oh, yeah,
they've done some work there, but clearly there are still a lot of weeds and a lot of junk, and I guess, what if we just let him do a little and then it just goes back, and
well,
I just don't see where
she's doing
we're.
a little every day, she just doesn't get it done as fast as she wants. She does work at it.
By the time she works at it, it's growing again from the week
When she was talking about that at the farmer's market, that she said she can only be out there away from the ground.
And that's another thing, if there's people on this list that need help, I think we could find people to help.
I'd be more.
I think we
I'd
can
like-
find groups to help, but we kinda have to know who that is.
I think Mike Morris needs to move up there.
Okay.
My car had moved to the south side of driveway.
Oh, he moved it to the north and back to the south.
Well, there's weeds all around
Weeds all
that
around it,
house.
yeah.
There's weeds all the way around that house.
I know on the south side, when I stopped talking, that's supposedly a rose bush.
Oh,
I just don't see where we're making any progress at all. There's a junk vehicle, and I know, what about the property, the two properties on Vine Street, and then they're also connected to the 511 3rd Street. And behind 511 3rd Street, the business, the bait shop business, there's a junked vehicle, there's a half a truck back there.
Yeah, and they got notice on it.
They got a notice?
Yeah, they got notice.
So then how many days did they have?
I think I gave them almost a month, just because he was an over-the-road trucker, the guy.
So you don't know when you did that?
What's that? It was middle towards the end of August. I've got it in my desk, I don't have it on top of my head, but
So by
The one-
the end of September, we would think that would be done?
the middle, yeah, towards the end of September.
but look at how good, this guy, look at how good it makes all the rest of the houses look.
Then the one on Main, the 200 block of Main Street that you had pictures on, they whacked down all the volunteer trees except for one, so I don't know if that has sentimental value or not.
Where's that?
Right behind Lutton's.
Smith's.
They've done some work back there. I can't tell what belongs to who.
Oh,
There's some work back there, but there's still a lot of,
his was the carport and the volunteer trees up front, and he cut them all down except for one, so I don't know if that's,
We had a toilet, we got rid of that. That was way there.
yeah. And he got rid of the rest of the junk in there.
I guess especially the weeds, I just don't understand. But if there are people out there that need help, if we knew about that, maybe we could figure out a solution.
Yeah, I would volunteer my time to do it.
Or we could-
I have to, I really have on some of them.
Well, the trouble is you can't, the young groups, you can't get in there because of all the help.
Well, we have a local group that wanted to go out and help private residents if they needed help, so they have a group that.
But I mean, they have to be, I would say a certain age.
Right, but this wasn't a kids group, it was.
Otherwise you get yourself, somebody gets it, so.
I think Hometown Pride has people that will.
Yeah, in this community, just ask anybody, people would help.
Right.
Susie's trailer, she had a window broke. Did you notice that? Is that what?
I didn't notice that.
On the west side?
I will go take care of that. Well, there's another.
I don't think that vehicle is inhabitable.
I know they drag it out and camp it.
It didn't run for a while.
No. Well, they can't afford camping.
And then
But there's another dangerous building I talked to John about today, it was just brought to our attention.
there's a camper down there on South Lake Street, and then there's a camper, there's two campers on. One's on South Lake, both are on South Lake, right within a couple of houses of each other. They both have campers. The one looks like a pretty nice camper, but someone told me it's not been moved in 3 years. I don't know if that's true or not.
The one further south,
Yeah,
I know it has, they've been to Auburn,
Okay.
to Grant Park.
okay. The other one, I don't think it's been moved in a long time. I don't, it just doesn't.
Is that the one that he got a notice about a pickup?
Yes.
Is that he was gonna build an addition to put it in?
Yes.
I just got a text from Casey Swans.
Oh,
It says where, you see where the meeting tonight, you have a garage door off at the end of the weekend.
So he's gonna build a new garage on it?
Yeah.
He had to ask for a building permit on there,
Sure.
and it wasn't active.
Yeah, they get that other split up. First got clean up the mess so you can do something.
Yeah.
And then they need to clearly define that property line.
Well, there's a way we can get more aggressive on these.
Yeah,
push
we'll
them
talk,
along.
we got some of the volunteer helpers, I'm sure that would be great if we're
I think if it's somebody, I mean, you know, I don't wanna go out and help someone that's 20 years younger than me.
Oh, right.
If they don't, if there's not a reason for it, you know what I'm saying? But
Right.
I'm saying if there is a physical reason or whatever reason, yeah, I think we can.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody on the, well, outside of the one on South Plaza. Everyone else I think is kind of older.
See if we can move them along.
Okay, and then Mr. Kolb, I gave more time to, just because his health has been poor.
Yeah, I know, that's why I was gonna say that.
And unless Bob's got put in sports for his garage, he needs to find a good one.
Yep, we will do that.
Do we have a building permit for that?
No, he came in with the diagrams and plans and all that, and that's as far as it went. Yeah,
You're
had
talking
some of,
about his property again today, that he's working on his property swap between him and Larry. They would change the dimensions of the lot, allow him to do what he wants to. This will also affect the entrance to the sewer plant. Positively.
Open down that road.
Yep.
I've seen that, I've seen the property over there, and I went out to this.
See if we can move them along.
okay,
Okay? We'll do the city administrator report.
Yeah. All right, so on Bobby Terrell, things are coming together here. My little bit of an update on that is that the engineer has submitted the construction permit application for the sewer, and the DNR had responded and had one question about that, but it looked like everything had been all addressed there. Just a question of timing as far as when the permit would come through, but it looks like everything's falling into place. Okay, then two issues for the council tonight. First thing about this, the rain garden stuff. Okay, so we've been working through the process to get the plans approved by the DNR on that too, as far as the DNR approving the plans, and then having it approved by, as a eligible sponsored project. So all the plans are approved for that, which they are. And then it is the notion of paying for that. You know, so it's going to be a sponsored project. We'll pay for the entire thing. So I asked them the question about contractors. You know, does the city need to bid that separately, or can we use Bobby's contractor? Bobby would really very much prefer that we use his contractor. So King Construction is the contractor on it. The state will allow us to just utilize Bobby's contractor on it. So again, it's all funded by SRF, and the state's on board with the notion. You know, their thought process basically is, you know, Bobby has been working with the contractors along the way, taking quotes from his different contractors. That was, if we wanted to use King, that it would be permissible. I need an answer for him about whether we would seek to bid that project separately or whether we would utilize King on that. And I guess
It's all explain the financial thing to me again, just to refresh my memory.
It's
It's
all-
all covered by the
by the SRF, sponsored project.
So is that gonna stay that, like that steep, that bank?
No, you know, a lot of the bank gets filled in, some of that, the bank gets cut down just a little
Okay.
bit and
Well, that's what I
and filled in, and then, yeah, the ditch. It's always been talked about as far as, think about the grade as being able to mow it,
Yeah, that's.
but you're not mowing it because it has these rain gardens in the bottom. And it's not really a rain garden, it's a bioretention cell, which means it has that pipe underneath it to drain it. But people understand rain garden concepts, so, but anyway, so the question on that is, would we bid it or would we just work with Terrell's contractor? And if you're okay with working with Terrell's contractor, we'd probably go down that road.
Do you think you get a better bid though? How do we know what's proper amount?
You don't, you know, and other than, that Bob had worked with 2 contractors, also, you know, taking bids so that he's working with the low-cost contractor.
So, I mean, maybe he'd be interested in something like that, I don't know, you know.
Yes.
For another bid.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of putting it out for bid or going with King?
Just the biggest advantage there is if you got the one contractor,
It'll get
they're
done.
working across the different phases of the project at the same time.
So if we got a cheaper bid, do we know what King is gonna charge us for this?
I don't,
Is it just the amount of this?
yeah, I do not have a bid from him on
You
that. I
would
don't even
think-
know what it is.
You would think that it'd be more cost effective for King to do it since he's out there doing the work.
He's already mobilized out there.
I understand that, but we don't even know what he's gonna charge.
Right.
I mean, I don't understand.
Yeah, shouldn't we?
We have not taken a bid, you know, because we didn't know if we're gonna bid it or if we're working with,
No,
with
but
King, but I
shouldn't we
don't know
still
what, I
know
don't know
what
what
King
King's
is
cost
going
is.
to be charged?
Right,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we would need to bid the project.
But like I said, to see what the bid is gonna be, then we gotta
Right.
determine if we think that's reasonable,
Then we can,
then we can move on. If we don't, put it out for bid.
I'll tell
I
King
agree.
to put a price on that, what we want to do there.
I do not have a price, so yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't wanna
Because
sign a
that's like
blank
giving
check.
an open checkbook.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Blank check we're signing.
We don't want that.
I think we need a number.
Well, they're gonna take the amount of what's in the SF. I always get those acronyms wrong.
State revolving fund.
Aren't they gonna take all of that? I mean, they know what's allotted for that, right?
They would, yeah, but it's
And they're
not,
gonna, that's what they're gonna take?
it should not be that much. I would tell you that.
Well, you don't know.
No, you don't know.
So
We'll
let's
find
figure-
out.
And they will meet those guidelines though, when they do it.
On the SRF guidelines, they
Yes.
have to, yeah.
you know,
And they do. So, you know, the rain garden is one issue, and it's kind of a separate issue because we're not funding that. But the other issue that I need an answer to is the city installing water service. So the city installs the water utility through there. But the same thing, same question applies to you. Would you work with Terrell's contractor on that, or would you bid it? You know, and in that case, I think we had talked originally that we would look at bidding that. You know, as far as it's a true city project.
Right, same
should be
thing,
bid.
same thing. We'd have to bid it.
I mean, I think you about have to. I can see where if we bid it and whoever gets the bid isn't gonna be able to do it on their time schedule, we're gonna slow down the project. I'm
So who puts the concrete?
sure that's what Terrell's worry is, you know.
Yeah, but,
But-
But we can put the time frame on the bid.
So like the streets and stuff, then the city does that, or he pays?
no, the developer does.
Okay.
Bobby does.
Okay.
All right, price on,
One thing I just wanted to mention here is, you've had several people that, well, a couple of them they come to our apartments and to look at the apartments and said they couldn't find no signs for Main Street.
We're coming to that.
Like, oh, well, it's coming,
Kind of come up, yeah.
you know, on them square things there, and there's no signage on them whatsoever. In fact, I went and looked tonight before I come in here because, you know, it's just something that,
We're gonna fix that in about 3 minutes.
okay.
Well, somewhat. But if you're talking actually about Main Street street name signs,
Well, not street name sign, but
Yes.
Define Main Street.
Where Main Street
Main
is.
Street, yeah.
because, you know, it's interesting because we had this same discussion at this business meeting that we had last Monday. That as we were talking about some of these downtown business signage issues, folks were also talking, especially some of the downtown business owners, that they get comments from people, yeah, they can't find Main Street.
Right.
Which, I was a little surprised to hear that, because we got this system of wayfinding signs around town. so that folks should at least be able to get to the area of town that they're looking at. But, a couple things on that. The first thing was that one big wayfinding sign out on the highway had been hit several years ago and never replaced. And this is actually one that's in the ditch there, kind of by golf balls, is where it is located. So we would look to get that sign again and get that replaced, and just figure, it's probably $400 or so for that to happen, I would guess. So we would anticipate doing that. But then, yeah, we're open to other ideas about what you really think is needed for signage then.
Well, I was gonna go around and look better too, and I didn't get that done. But, it was brought up at the business meeting that there's nothing on the west entrance into town. And I have kind of looked at that, because I know you said there wasn't a good place for it. Surely we can figure out something out there. Because if you put it at Golf Products, it's kind of before your Lake Street entrance, right?
Yeah, it's intended to get people to turn down Lake Street.
Right, so if they're coming from the west, if your goal is to get them to Lake Street or to Madison?
I would say Madison.
So this new one that we would propose to purchase that goes at golf balls is for westbound traffic, coming from the east going west. And then the one for eastbound traffic from the west coming east is there already and directs people down Lake Street.
It's down for Lake Street.
For Lake
There's
Street,
nothing out
yeah.
there for Madison.
There is
really?
nothing for Madison,
Okay.
and these signs, boy, time gets away that they've probably been here for a dozen years.
Well, that's just it, you see them and you don't really look at
Sure.
them.
But I do recall the conversation about that at the time, that we did not put any up there at the intersection of Madison, and it had to do with the fact that there was really no good place to put it up there. You have this extra wide right-of-way up there with 9th Street, and it was just gonna be a struggle as far as finding a good spot to put it. So nothing has ever been done up there. So we're certainly open to some good ideas there too.
Almost across the street would be about the only place on the north side of the highway.
And you could do that for westbound traffic.
Right.
For eastbound traffic, it's
No.
not practical there.
Yeah, because even if you put it where the old car wash was, you should have them before the turn.
And on that, when we do stuff on the highway, we've got to work with the DOT on that and meet their requirements there too.
Has anyone really looked at the rest of the signs, like to the business district?
Nothing other than our wayfinding signs, and which I always thought were pretty decent. This is the first time it was really raised as a concern in a long time. We haven't heard that.
So do we need a motion on to fix that sign on the highway, or is everybody comfortable with it?
I just would plan to do that, John. It's not on.
No. I'm assuming everybody's okay with it, said, yeah, it should have been put up a long time ago.
If you need it, are you gonna need it on the agenda for next time or what?
I'll just, it's within my rights, my purchasing rights.
We're talking about this, or?
Really, it's just FYI for you. Just got that email to me this afternoon.
I wondered, because I was gonna ask you about it.
I do have a couple other things for you though. Lagoon update. The update in the council packet deals with potential change orders that are coming. Okay, so expect this change order on an influent sampler location. Okay, and really all I can tell you is that we got to have an influence sampler, and if you call it an oversight or whatever, it was never in the plans and it needs to be. So what this does is basically creates a concrete pad, but then gets the electricity to the site also, and then we got to purchase the sample, which we would have to purchase that sample. So the total on that's 11,700 on what will be this change order. We really have to have it. We don't have a choice.
And the engineers accept the responsibility for sure.
That's That's what I was just gonna ask. What, how did they miss that?
I don't know, because I brought that to their attention about, we certainly gotta have an influence in it. And it's not there.
So when does, like the buildings and electrical, they don't need to be doing it?
They're working on it. They got the,
Where'd the pad be?
got the pad poured for the building,
Yeah,
and all of the, all the conduit and all the electrical work was stubbed up through the foundation. So that's all, coming along pretty nice. The other change order, and I do not have a price on this one yet, is a requested change order from us, is, putting an electric hoist on that lift station. You know, there's a hoist there, but it's just a manual crank hoist. And as we were out there talking that day, we had that site visit, that we were looking at a price on it.
I think they do that.
Maybe 2 feet, that's small.
Yeah.
Yeah, crank is off.
Couple things on library. We had talked about, we laid out kind of that bidding plan for the library. And just know that I don't have any real update about construction from, coming up with certified plans for electric and plumbing, you know, as far as the work being done. Now, Craig has hooked us up with some certified guys who will get us the plans done. They're just working on it. Okay, so it may not be able to follow that same timeline that I laid out for you. See whether, the idea was to go to the library board next Tuesday, which I'd be a little surprised if they did. But, the library board does have their fundraising committee in place, and they'll be, actively soliciting donations now before too long. They will be at the next city council meeting to talk to you about the project, but then they'll also make a financial request of the council. So just know that their fundraising goal right now is to raise $125,000, and they're just getting started. And they haven't done anything with it. Just know that they'll be here. They'll be discussing that at the next council.
You're talking about the next year's budget.
Oh, yeah, it can be nothing would happen until next year. Yeah, I guess conceivably it could happen in the spring. We could budget for next year.
It would be like you did with the shed so much, you know, break it up in 3 or 5 years or something. Not, I don't think we are, you know, like we did that.
Yeah, with any luck, if the plans come together and we get that thing bid, it is beginning construction next spring, so it just doesn't work to spread the payment out over years. Just know that they'll come ask for a financial contribution, and that way they have the city's contribution spoken for, basically have that amount in hand as they go to do the public fundraising.
So it's kind of like an incentive.
And
I mean,
certainly, it's kind of, you know, similar to the LPA, you know, that the city had put money in really before they went out.
Oh,
408 Main Street, we're taking proposals on that, and we sent out information through email and through Facebook, and we'll run ads in the Lakeview Resort again. We have some interest. Now, I've talked with potentially 3 people about this, so we'll keep working with them and keep referring them along, hopefully to get a proposal.
you know, do you think you have 3 potential?
There's folks, yeah, these folks have talked to me.
Different than the ones before that have said they're not interested in it.
Yeah, yep. Sac County League meetings are gonna kick off again here for the fall. The Sac County League meeting is Thursday, September 12th. Letting host it, but we don't even know where they'll do it, so we haven't determined where to place it. So I'll let you guys know.
What about the catalyst training?
Yeah, so it's here,
Who's
we,
invited to that? Who's invited to that? Is it like what we went to at Storm Lake
same
last
thing,
year?
yeah, it's the same thing.
So it's other communities that are invited?
Yeah.
So are these people that are interested in putting in a proposal, are they able to come to that?
They
or
sure
is-
can, absolutely. Yeah. They can. It's a little deep on that, but they're welcome to check.
Well, they pick up something. I wondered about that as they go.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
Meeting adjourned.